You must read this story about marital love. It might save another marriage. That night, as usual, I came home late. My wife was still in the kitchen, waiting to heat up dinner for me. Seeing her bustling around our tiny kitchen, I couldn't hold back anymore. I took her hand, took a deep breath, gathered all my courage, and told her, I want a divorce. She calmly sat down, scooped rice onto a plate for me, and when I could no longer bear the silence, she asked, Why? I couldn't answer. Then she exploded. She threw the chopsticks and screamed, You're not worthy of being a man. That night, we didn't speak a word to each other. She still slept soundly, but I knew she was desperate to understand what had happened to our marriage. I just couldn't bring myself to tell her. My heart belongs to Jane now. I don't love her anymore. I've betrayed her. I thought divorce was the only way. I didn't want anything. She could keep the house, the car, and 30% of my company shares. She had the right to decide whatever she wanted. After 10 years together, she was now just a stranger. I felt guilty for wasting her love, time, and energy. But I was in love with Jane. I thought I was doing the right thing. The next day, I came home late again. My wife had left a note on the table, but I was too exhausted to care. A long day of work, and Jane had drained me. I fell into the deepest sleep I'd had in ages. Was it because I felt I was finally free? In the morning, my wife asked if I had read the note. Without waiting for a reply, she laid out her conditions for the divorce. She wanted us to live like a family for 1 month before finalizing it. Her reason was simple. Our son had an important exam coming up, and she didn't want him to be affected emotionally. I agreed. But she added a strange request. She wanted us to talk to each other like we did when we first got married. And every morning, I had to carry her out of bed. I thought she had gone crazy. But thinking about my bright future with Jane, I reluctantly agreed. I told Jane about my wife's conditions. She laughed and called it absurd. Whatever trick she's playing, you'll still divorce her, right? I just smiled. My wife and I hadn't been physically close since the night I mentioned divorce. So the first morning I carried her out of bed, we were both awkward. Our son clapped and cheered. Daddy is carrying Mommy! His innocent joy hurt a little. I carried her 10 meters, from the bedroom to the living room. She closed her eyes and softly said, Don't tell our son about the divorce. I sighed, feeling something break inside me. The second morning, it felt even more awkward. She leaned on my shoulder. I smelled her shampoo and faint perfume. I realized I hadn't really looked at my wife in a long time. She wasn't young anymore. I noticed 5 wrinkles near her eyes, strands of gray hair. This marriage had taken so much from her. I suddenly wondered what I had done to this woman. By the 4th day, as I lifted her, a strange feeling stirred in me. This woman in my arms had been with me for 10 years. By the 5th and 6th day, that feeling grew. I didn't tell Jane. Carrying my wife each morning became easier. Was I getting stronger from the practice? Some days, she wore dresses to work. She would stand in front of the mirror, twirling left and right, saying the dress felt looser. I noticed she had lost weight. That's why she felt lighter. The realization pained me. I reached out to touch her, but our son ran in. Daddy, time to carry Mommy. To our son, watching his parents in this morning ritual had become the highlight of his day. My wife called him over and hugged him tightly. I turned away, afraid I'd change my mind at the last minute. I lifted her, held her tight, and walked from the bedroom, through the living room, out to the porch. Her arms wrapped gently around my neck, naturally tenderly. I held her just like I did on our wedding day. She grew lighter every day, which made me sad. On the last morning, as I carried her, every step felt heavier than the day before. Our son had already left for school. I laid her down gently. Then I drove like mad to Jane's luxury apartment. I jumped out, forgetting to even close the car door. I was afraid if I hesitated, I'd change my mind. When Jane opened the door, I said, I'm sorry, Jane. I don't want a divorce anymore. She stared at me and put her hand on my forehead. Are you sick? I brushed her hand away. I'm sorry, Jane, I repeated. I won't divorce my wife. My marriage had grown dull because we stopped paying attention to the little things. But that didn't mean we had stopped loving each other. I realized that the moment I carried her into our house on our wedding day, I had vowed to carry her for the rest of our lives. Jane snapped out of it. She slapped me and slammed the door, sobbing. I didn't care anymore. I raced home. I stopped by a flower shop to buy her favorite bouquet. The clerk asked what message I wanted to include on the card. I wrote, "Let me carry you out of bed every morning from now until death parts us." When I got home, flowers in hand and a smile on my face, I rushed into our bedroom. My wife was lying on our bed, but she was gone. She had battled cancer for months, but I had been too distracted by Jane to notice. She knew she didn't have much time left, so she agreed to the divorce, but wanted our son to remember me as a loving husband and a responsible father. In a different sense, I failed to save my marriage. By the time I realized what I had, it was too late. If only I had cared more about the little things. If only I had paid attention. If only I had loved her more, stayed faithful, and noticed her illness in time, maybe things would have been different. But it was all too late. Nothing will happen if you don't share this story. But if you do, you might just save someone's marriage. Many people give up right when they're closest to happiness. They just don't know it yet. Bạn muốn tôi chuyên thể bản dịch này thành một bài đăng ngắn hơn cho mạng xã hội, Facebook, link to TikTok, caption, v.v.